again another packed program here for you at the Frat House, and 5 minutes at the Frat House with Frat House Mike and Sidekick. And we've got the Sweet 16 round of the NCAA Tournament. Just started up about a half hour ago, going on right here live behind us here at the Frat House. And so you can expect quite a bit of chat here, going over everything that has happened so far in the tournament as we move into the second full weekend of all of the different events. Well, we've also got ourselves an MLS update tonight.
Yep.
We've got the real Major League Baseball starting up again in just 3 days. Plus, we have our usual look at the NBA and NHL as we start to count down to the playoffs. Yes.
Can't wait.
I know you can't. But it was a very tense and somewhat surprising conclusion to last week's fifth race in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And that's where we're going to start it off, Sidekick, as we usually do. But this is a good one to start it off with because, my gosh, I got to tell you, that race down there at the Auto Club 400 in Fontana, California, that had to be one of the most exciting races I've seen in a long, long time. Just kept me glued to the television set for the last 50 laps. I sat there glued to it. And that was despite the fact that, as usual here at the Frat House, we had 3 TVs going. Yeah, of course we did. We had NCAA on one. We had the NHL Flyers game on another. But no, I'm zeroing right in on what was happening in Fontana. And the real tension came in the final lap. As it appeared, it was coming down to a 2-man jog, basically, between 2 of the best buddies out there on the racetrack, in Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. As they were fighting it out to the finish line, Hamlin spun out, hit the interior wall head on. Well, the most amazing thing to me was, as you see these two fighting for it, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, high side, here comes Kyle Busch, right by the 2 of them.
Ever the opportunist.
Lap leader for the entire race, 125 of the 200 laps, and he takes the high side and the checkered flag right past the both of them.
Nightmare.
As all of this nonsense is going on right below him, where there goes Hamlin into the interior wall. Logano ends up coming across the line as well. Well, Kyle Busch got his first win of the new season here, 5th race. Others who came in the top 5 included Dale Jr. Oh, yes, he was, I'll tell you. Included Dale Jr., who benefited from the melee himself and took 2nd. Logano ultimately did cross the line. He came in 3rd. Carl Edwards got 4th. And Kurt Busch came in 5th. Kurt Busch had a very, very good race there.
Yep.
Now, for his trouble, what did Denny Hamlin get? Well, he got an airlift following the wreck to a local medical center, where it was later reported that he suffered a lower back compression fracture, excuse me, and will miss 5 races and about 6 weeks. I'm gonna throw a couple questions at you. First of all, one would think that's going to put him in serious jeopardy of probably making the chase to lose that many races, and he was running fairly well this year.
Yes. As an example, last year Mark Martin missed 5 races, did not make the chase.
Mm-hmm.
Denny's best hope is to come back, get a couple wins, get as many wins as he can, actually.
Right.
Obviously, and hope that he can get a wild card. And that. Now, the interesting thing, though, this will be, if Denny misses the race, the chase.
Right.
This will be the first season of him missing it.
Wow.
He's made since he's been in Sprint Cup.
Wow.
He's made the chase every season. So
all right, a lot of talk following that race. Was this just tough, hard-nosed, honest racing, or was there some bad blood, some animosity here between these 2 guys who, it's well documented. I mean, just a week before they almost got into fisticuffs following the previous race. So
yeah, Bristol. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, was this hard? I mean, everything looked clean there, from I think most perspectives.
Do you think, was there bad blood there?
Obviously.
Absolutely, I think there was bad blood.
There probably is.
I don't think
it's going to get worse at this point.
I don't think there was malice.
Okay.
Or evil intentions.
Right.
They were just racing each other hard. Had the incidents from last week not happened, would they have raced each other that hard? Maybe not. I think they raced each other hard because of last week.
I mean, it wasn't the first time during that race that those two were going neck and neck at it.
Well, no, and Denny Hamlin isn't the only person that Logano got into it with.
Yeah, right.
Because he ran Kurt Busch down into the infield. Yep. He ran Tony Stewart down into the infield on the final restart.
Yep.
Tony came at him, was throwing blows at him.
Hey, Doc, how come you're so cantankerous today?
And had some really nice words to say about Mr. Logano.
Yep.
And so he's apparently he's a little PO'd that he got let go from Gibbs, Logano that is.
Yeah.
And he's with Penske this season, and it seems he's got a little bit of moxie going on.
Now, it's probably a good thing we've got a week off right now before we go to Martinsville. Probably a good thing because it's going to let, hopefully, I guess maybe some things cool off.
Yeah. No.
But there's been a lot of... No, it's not going to happen.
No.
But there's been a lot of chat that, in fact, Logano might have a target on his back, particularly from one like Stewart, as we go into Martinsville, and that's a half-mile track.
Actually, I've heard that there's quite a few drivers that are gonna
be gunning at Logano.
Yeah, I think he's...
You really piss me off.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
He's not making fans.
No, not at all. Well, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think, while we're talking about tempers cooling off, this extended break, you would think, would probably help Hamlin. But if, in fact, as it turns out, as Sidekick pointed out, it's very possible that Hamlin might not make the chase as a result of this, I would think there's going to be a little extra baggage of anger that Hamlin's going to be carrying throughout the rest of this season as it goes forward. Of course, he's got to be careful of doing anything because of the appearance, I would think.
Well, he's going to hit, if he stays on schedule with his rehab, he's due back in a car at Darlington and that. And I'm sure that while he'll be back as soon as he can get back, I don't know how much he's going to want to go out there beating, banging cars around. I'm sure he's still going to be sore. Now, you remember he had knee surgery a couple seasons ago or last season, and he was the warrior and did not miss a single race.
Right.
And suffered through the pain and everything. So I was even reading today where he's already planning getting back into the car. Obviously,
I'm sure he is. I mean,
yeah.
He's the kind of guy that's got the look of somebody that's not going to forgive very quickly. Let's put it that way.
Well, no, I think if the opportunity presented itself to give him a little bump and run, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd probably take a shot at him.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't think you're going to see him getting out on like a Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer kind of,
No, I think this one has the potential, though, of being longer lasting. That's my point. I guess is what I'm saying. I think it's going to hang on.
Of course, the 6 weeks, things may cool down between the two of them.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And Logano, I'm sure Logano's going to have his hands full for the next 6 weeks with Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Harvick, and all these other guys. And the problem is, once you start racing people hard like that, they're going to race you back. You always hear the driver say it. I will race you the way you race me.
Right.
So I think you're going to start seeing Logano having some problems. Maybe a couple DNFs, maybe.
See how he reacts to it. But, well, with all of this going on behind the scenes, it changed the look of the leaderboard again. And take a look at that there. You've got Dale Jr. now sitting atop the list. Defending champion Brad Keselowski, he moves down to number 2. Jimmy Johnson holds tight to the number 3 spot. And with his top 5 finish, Carl Edwards shot up from number 8 to number 4.
Yep.
Greg Biffle stays right there at number 5. Biggest mover, yes, it had to be Clint Boyer, who took a tumble this week, dropping 10 spots from number 4 to number 14.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
Edwards and Bush were the biggest movers up.
Right.
They both jumped up 4 spots. Logano, through all that went on, he still moved up 3 spots.
Exactly, he did.
Hamlin dropped 4.
Yep. All right, and so as I pointed out, no race this week in observation of Easter Sunday, but that'll lead us up then later on to the half-mile track at Martinsville Speedway on April 7th. So no fantasy picking this week,
Yep.
but there's our this week's cumulative Frat House NASCAR fantasy standings. Noticeable absences there from yours truly and Sidekick in the top 10 still. Hey, but we moved up a little bit. It's
Well, you moved up.
We're moving up a little bit, all right. But
My
listen,
trying to gamble
we
did
gotta
not.
keep
I
our-
crapped out.
we got to keep our eye on Destructive Divas as they won their second race of the season already, placing themselves really almost at the top of the list for the chase. So we got to keep our eye on that one. So we'll take a couple of weeks off from racing.
I move for no man.
Well, maybe that's what they're saying, but we'll see about that one.
Wow, that even sounds like Steph's voice.
Whoa! See, nobody's protected on this show. We're going to take a couple weeks off from racing. We'll be right back at it, though, next week with fantasy picks in preparation for Martinsville next weekend.
And we'll even have NHRA.
Coming up next, so we'll actually do a report on that in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yes, we'll be doing a report on that in 2 weeks. We had such a full program last week, we didn't get a chance to take a look at Major League Soccer and to give an update on that. And now, at this point right now, I was looking over the league today. It looks like pretty much we've got 4 matches pretty much taking place across the league on almost all the teams. And I did notice we had a little bit of a change going on over in the Western Division. So give us a quick update on what's happening in MLS.
Yep, we're like you said, we're about 4 weeks in or so. So in the Eastern Conference, we still got the Montreal Impact there, undefeated, sitting on 12 points at the top of the Eastern Conference. The Columbus Crew with 7 points there, 2-1-1. Just real quick for those, in case we have some fans that are not soccer fans. Scoring, it's kind of like hockey a little bit. 3 points for a win, no points for a loss, and 1 point for a tie. So, in case you were wondering how the points are done up. And then in the Western Conference, we've got FC Dallas with 9 points. They're 3-1-0. And then we have Chivas, 7 points. They're 2-1-1.
Right.
My Union did what they played this past weekend. It was what they call a friendly. It's international. Yes, they're 2-1 right now, and they play Saturday against those dreaded New York Red Bulls.
That's right. I did see
Saturday night
all over Facebook
in New York.
That's right.
Yep.
All right,
So we'll see if we can continue.
There you are. We've got you up to date with Major League Soccer. We'll be coming back at it next week, and we'll take a look at that one. Now, where's that game in Philadelphia? Is that in Philly?
No, that's in New York.
Oh, it's in New York.
Away
Okay,
game.
so you're not going to be there, unfortunately.
No,
All right.
I usually don't the traveling
That
games.
would be a shame. I was kind of hoping that was going to be at home, and we could get an update from you, live on Facebook or something. But
Well, we'll play them a little later in the season.
I know. We're working on it. All right,
It'll
listen.
be a slugfest.
We've got other things that are finally upon us, and now we're just a few short days, really just a matter of hours now, when, in fact, the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros will kick off this year's Major League Baseball season
One constant through all
on
the years
Sunday.
has been baseball.
All the other teams will be kicking it up on Monday. So there's really only one game, and that'll be a Sunday night game on Easter Sunday between the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. Real quick, though, obviously both the Grapefruit and the Cactus Leagues are winding down. Over in the Florida League, which is the Grapefruit League, Baltimore Orioles have continued to be they've been atop that whole league, if you want to call it that, all exhibition long. Right now, 18-9. Your Cards, 15-14. My Phils, pretty much where I predicted them to be, where I think they're going to be at the end of the season. They're 15-15 with a .500 record. Out in Arizona, look at the Kansas City Royals. I've been bringing them up now for a couple weeks. 23-7 in their exhibition record. I'm telling you right now, listen to me, watch the Royals.
I was going to say, the Royals haven't really been relevant since George Brett, right?
Watch the Royals. I have a gut feeling.
I goofed.
Yeah, but you're gonna call me on it already? My gosh. And the Los Angeles representatives have not done very well so far. The Dodgers 11-19. LA Angels. I know this won't come as any sadness for you. 9-18 in exhibition season, dead last in the Cactus League.
Just remember, you can't buy championships.
Listen, all of that, however, makes absolutely no never mind. All right, no difference whatsoever, as it all starts for real, and we start counting the true black and white numbers come Sunday and Monday. And you can bet we'll be bringing you updates on Major League Baseball next week.
And the Cubs will be crying.
All right, so let's go take a look at, as I pointed out at the top of the show, we're in our second big weekend right now of the NCAA Tournament. Just tipped off behind me. Number 3 Marquette taking on number 4 Miami. And also going on simultaneously just about 15 minutes ago, number 6 Arizona going up against number 2 Ohio State. That started about 15 minutes ago. We have one big game that's coming up here for all of us at the Frat House, and that'll be a 10:15 tip-off. I'm going to get to that one in just a moment. But let me ask all of you out there, how's your bracket doing, huh? Seems to me psychic there have been some upsets this season.
Yep.
Obviously, there's always going to be upsets. But, you know, to me, it doesn't seem that some of the upsets have been quite as devastating as they have been in past years. You haven't had quite the bracket crumbling types of upsets as we have seen in years past. Now, maybe you'll say, well, that's easy for you to say, Mike. I don't know. But
I'll save my.
Okay, all right. That is, now let's take a look at it. That is unless, you had one of these teams up behind me going to the Final Four or even further, because these are all teams that were favored to advance further into the tourney, but did not.
Okay, wait.
All right, go ahead.
Honestly, who had Gonzaga?
Gonzaga, yes.
Oh, wait. That's right. Jen did.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I think there were a lot of people that had Gonzaga. Now, I'm glad you brought that up because, they were a number 1 seed. We talked about it before. They went down to a number 9 seed in Wichita State last week. And that may have hurt a lot of people, and I think there were probably some people that got sniped by that one. They weren't expecting Gonzaga to go down, particularly that early in the tournament. But we all talked about it here. You and I had talked about it. We had talked about it amongst ourselves. We kind of felt it was a weak number 1.
Yes. Absolutely.
So let's get that one straight. We got that one out of the way.
They couldn't even pull the wool over my eyes.
Look at there. All right. Now, that's not to say that there weren't some people that obviously maybe their bracket fell apart as a result of it. The other one, however, that I think is the most devastating off of this list, number 2 seed Georgetown. The Georgetown Hoyas losing in the first round to a number 15 seed Florida Gulf Coast University. Let's get this one straight. Nobody. I don't care whether you tell me you did or you didn't. You're a liar, okay? Nobody had Florida Gulf Coast University advancing and certainly not making it into the Sweet 16, which is where they are right now, all right? That Georgetown loss, I'm telling you right now, probably hurt a lot of people and it hurt me as I had Georgetown advancing to the Elite 8, but not crippling. All of my Final Four teams are still in the mix at this moment. Let's talk Cinderellas, and that'll mean that we move forward. Who are the true Cinderellas? Well, all right, yes. You have to put Florida Gulf Coast University in the mix. You have to put them in the conversation. But you got to put a team that's near and dear to the heart of many of us right here at the Frat House, and that's my LaSalle Explorers. Yes, I'm a proud alumnus of LaSalle. And those guys, a number 13 seed, right now going to be playing this evening against Wichita State, all right? And could advance themselves into the Elite 8 at that point, all right?
You could also make an argument for Oregon.
You could, although I think Oregon was one of those teams that was mistakenly ranked a number 12 team. I
Right.
really, really do. I think that was a weak seeding. I do not understand. Look, I could see Oregon not getting a 1, a 2, maybe even a 3. But to have them ranked as a 12 in that particular, that bracket, it's like it was just messed up. That whole Midwestern bracket was just messed up. It was loaded with way too many strong teams.
Right, because that's what we were talking about. Because Duke was in there because Duke was a 2. Louisville's 1.
Yep.
Duke was a 2.
Yep.
So
that whole bracket is just is in my opinion it's just way too overloaded. All right. But Cinderella's, I can make a case for the fact that I frankly think that LaSalle is a bigger Cinderella than Florida Gulf Coast. Not too many people are going to listen to me, but I want you to consider for one moment that LaSalle had to play that play-in game against Boise even to get to the field of 64. So in fact, they played 3 games in 5 days last week and won all 3 of them. So from all of us here, 10:15 tip-off tonight, we're going to be right there going up against Wichita State. You can bet that we are going to be rooting on our LaSalle Explorers right here from the Frat House. So I got to ask you real quick, how is your bracket doing?
Well, not too bad.
Well, there's our standings.
Yep. I've still got my Final 4 still intact.
Yeah, very good.
And I seem to be tied with
you are.
one Frat House Mike.
Yes, you are. You are tied with me.
So
Yes.
it looks...
And we will see how things progress as we go forward over the course of the next 4 days. I'm trying to think what we got. We got 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. That's 8, and then we'll have another. Another 4. Right. So, 12 games. We'll see where things stand after 12 games as we proceed forward at the conclusion of Sunday. But no, nice job.
We'll see if my
Nice job.
my luck is starting to turn.
All of these folks here, almost every single one of them, good friends and fans of the Facebook page, and that's how you jump in with us, and that's how you do this sort of thing. And up at the top there is our buddy Uncle Mark. All right, so good job to him. All right.
There's something screwy around here.
All right, now you're going to guess what? We're going to be talking Final 4 at this time next week. Final 4, that's where we're going to be going. And we'll be tracking all the games as we go, as I just pointed out, as we go through the weekend. Real quick, let me go do the Frat House Facebook post of the week because that kind of ties in. Sorry, I hate to do this, but I got to do a little self-promotion. I mean, we're doing an awful lot of, hey, what's our favorite thing? Well, I got to do a little bit for my LaSalle Explorers. The most viewed post. And I'm not making this up. I didn't just pull this one out. It was the most viewed post this week on the Frat House Sports Facebook page. Was one that I put up immediately following LaSalle's Sunday night evening victory over Ole Miss, where I posted, "The Frat House has erupted. Congrats to our LaSalle University Explorers basketball." And truly, it did erupt. I mean, there was just cheers and jumping and what have you going on.
And clean up on aisle 3.
It got the most views and numerous comments, and there you go. Keep those posts and the likes coming. Listen, we've picked up 11 new fans just in the past, 10 days or so. And so we encourage everyone out there to please get your friends and family to like our Frat House Sports Facebook page as well. Keep our numbers going north. Please, north. That's where we want to be going. All right? Get everybody out there to help us out. All right, let's hang around the basketball court real quick for just a few more moments. And we're going to hang them up over in the NBA because we only have about 12 games remaining. And what has felt like it's been a rather fast-moving season. Let's take a look at our division leaders. Over in the Atlantic Division, the New York Knicks continue to hang in there at the top of that division. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and now 2.5 games in front of the Brooklyn Nets. In the Central,
And
the
they've
Indiana
clinched.
Pacers. Go ahead.
They've clinched. Everybody's actually clinched right now.
I was going to say,
leaders,
all
the leaders
all
have
six
clinched.
of them have clinched. Okay. The Knicks are now 2.5 games in front of the Brooklyn Nets. Central continue to be dominated by the Indiana Pacers, 5 games in front of the Chicago Bulls. The Southeast Division, Miami Heat. It came to an end last night. Oh, you're such a hater. Came to an end last night.
Yes, I am.
Came to an end last night. Chicago Bulls took down the Miami Heat And so now they're 9-1 in their last 10, as opposed to being, what were they going for? Their 28th? They were going for the 28th last night, I think it was. Nonetheless, they're 16.5 games in front of the Atlanta Hawks. Northwest, Oklahoma City Thunder still ahead, 4.5 games in front of the Denver Nuggets. LA Clippers, 8.5 games in front of the Golden State Warriors. And the San Antonio Spurs, 7 games in front of the Memphis Grizzlies. Okay, there's our round ball picture for this week. I'll bring you a playoff update next week. We got just a bit more basketball business, and that's our new feature here that we promised. I promised it 2 weeks ago, Sidekicks, and mine we did the best 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We're going to take a look at the worst event we've witnessed in basketball. And so what do you have, Sidekick?
For my worst event, I went with the Malice in the Palace. November 19th, 2004.
Yeah.
You'll remember our good friend,
Yeah.
Meta World Peace, a.k.a.
I was wondering whether you were going to use his real, his felonious name.
a.k.a. Ron Artest, and the Pacers-Pistons brawl, which was a rematch of the previous year's
It was actually, yes.
Eastern Conference Finals, where the Pistons had gone on to win the championship.
Yep.
With basically about a minute left in the game.
Less than.
Yep. Ron Artest got a little chippy, and some blows came out, and then he decided to take out a couple fans after a while before coming back onto the
floor.
The floor, yeah. I was going to say field. Onto the floor, and then take a couple more people out.
Yeah.
So total of 9 players suspended for 146 games and $11 million in fines.
Went to a basketball game and a hockey game workout.
Yep. 5 players charged with assault.
Insane. It was absolutely... and you put that out as the worst only because it really... I mean, you know, it's funny. When you see that sort of thing happen in hockey, you kind of sit back and you just kind of chuckle and laugh. I got to tell you, that particular night, as I saw that, I wasn't laughing. It was a disgrace.
No, it was. I mean, come on. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing when you have 2 players, things get a little heated.
They start giving a push.
But
or 2,
you know, I mean, you know, when you saw, you know, just from the the start of it with Ron Artest just pushing the guy, you know, and then to go into the crowd and start. Yeah, I mean, the fans were throwing stuff.
Yes.
But the fact, you know, you still have to maintain some composure.
A lot of it, though, was created by the fact, too, that Wallace just wouldn't cool off. Right. I mean, Artest was actually sitting over on the bench, and he was being actually guarded really by Robinson, and he was trying to cool him off. And Artest was sitting. It was Wallace that just wouldn't give it up. He just kept roaming around like as if he was going to come after him. And, I mean, Artest then did, in fact, I mean, he ended up going into the stands. That's when all hell broke loose. Yep. It was a mess.
The Donnybrook.
Oh, my God. It was not pleasant to watch. Like I said, you see it in hockey, and you sit back and go, and you kind of chuckle, but... All right, nice pick on that one. Now, I'm going to use the term worst as to kind of describe my most disappointing. And if I go there, then I have to go to the Sixers and Lakers NBA Finals in 2001. Not because the Sixers won the first game in Los Angeles and then promptly proceeded to lose, the next 4 in a row, 3 of those at home in Philadelphia. Not because of that, but because of the incredible season that Allen Iverson had. You talk about a guy carrying a team on their back. And that's exactly what Allen Iverson did. As really, when it comes right down to it, you take a look at that 2000-2001 Sixers team. It's not loaded with stars. All right? This was a team with Eric Snow, good player. You had Mutombo on there, good defender. You had an aging Aaron McKee and an inconsistent Matt Geiger coming off the bench. The Sixers ended their season 56-26. That was their record. And really, without a doubt, most of that was thanks to Allen Iverson. Iverson had an all-star season. He played 42 minutes a game, averaged 31 points per game. Many of those games during the season, many people seem to forget, He exceeded 50 points in many of them. In game 1 of the finals here, Iverson scored 48 points. And to me, the most disappointing, it had to be the most disappointing, as I pointed out, not because of the fact that I thought that the Sixers were the most deserving. In fact, I felt that the Lakers were really the better team. But I wanted to see the championship won, and as a reward, not for me as a fan, but for Allen Iverson. That's why I wanted to see it won for. I felt he deserved, even more than the Philadelphia fans or the Sixers fans, to get that championship. All right. Now, we've got that one. That one's mine. There you have it. There's my worst moment. Disappointing. We got baseball kicking off in just a couple of days, as I mentioned earlier. So in 2 weeks, Sidekick and I will be bringing you our best moment in baseball. All right. In the meantime, do us a favor. Get over to our Facebook page, Frat House Sports. Let us know what your favorite moment in baseball was. We'll give you a shout out on that one. All right. All right, let's real quick take a look at the NHL. No major division changes over there, as we have just about 15 games remaining in the season. Take a look at the division leaders. Note, as I pointed out, no changes necessarily. Pittsburgh Penguins, 15 points ahead of the New Jersey Devils in the Northeast. Montreal Canadiens hang up there just 1 point ahead of the Boston Bruins. Winnipeg Jets, they are 6 points ahead of the Carolina Hurricanes. Chicago Blackhawks now they've lost 4 games now. All right, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about them, not losing a game. Now they've lost 4.
Well, you were talking about it.
Yeah, you're talking about it now. 53 points, 14 points ahead of the new second place team at Detroit Red Wings. Over in the Northwest, Minnesota Wild, 42 points, and they're tied with the Vancouver Canucks. And in the Pacific Division, the Anaheim Ducks, they lost 4 in a row this week. First time that Anaheim has really, really not looked too good. But, for some reason or another, the LA Kings just can't seem to make any ground because they keep losing as well. The Ducks are still 10 points ahead of the LA Kings. All right, and I will bring you our playoff picture next week when we have a little bit more time. When we will have more time because we won't have NASCAR updates and that sort of thing. But
I was going to ask how much longer we got to go, and aren't the ponds melting already?
Worried about the ponds melting? Is that what you're worried about?
Well,
Worried about
it's spring.
It doesn't feel like
you're playing on ice?
It sure doesn't feel like it. All right, let's run around real quick. Make sure you jump over and check out fanjunkies.net, where sports meets social networking. Completely free. Take you just a couple of seconds. Sign up. Nothing filled with a bunch of sports geeks like Sidekick and I. Fan Junkies Radio. Going strong. Jonathan and I, we got some great programs coming up for you. Tomorrow, actually, we're going to do a fun one. Tomorrow's all geared around best sports-themed movies. So that should be a good one. We're looking forward to pulling that one off. Herb FM Sports. They're rebroadcasting our programs right here from 5 Minutes at the Frat House. They do that for us a couple times a week. Get over there, herbfm.com. That's how you find them. Check the schedule and you'll find us there. CLW 83 rebroadcast all of the Fan Junkies programs, which means they rebroadcast the program that I do on Saturday, which is Frat House Saturdays on Fan Junkies Radio. And FratHouseSports.net, I did a lot of work on it this week. We got a lot of new content up there. In fact, we have somebody that's going to be doing PGA updates for us every week. How do you like that one?
Nice.
I think that's very cool for our PGA fans out there. Yeah, we're even covering that one. All right. And so we're covering it all for you. I'm not going to ask you to do something for me. All right. Since we're going to cover everything for you, I got to have you do one thing. Keep us real, keep us live, and keep us gone. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the tourney.
Happy Easter.
Hamlin gave him a shot. One to go.
Outside, barely. Outside.
Hamlin there. Logano to the bottom, trying to hold his ground.
That's going to be tough, though. But he's been running good on the bottom. If he can just clear Hamlin right there.
No way. He's going to lose his momentum. They're going to touch hard. Are they going to make it?
Neck and neck.
Down the back, side by side.
Kyle Busch closing in.
Watch out for the third place car, Kyle Busch. He's looking.
Hamlin edges ahead. They touch. They touch, and here comes Kyle. Logano on the wall. Hamlin
be nice to each other. They weren't. Hard impact on the 11 car, head on. I don't like the looks of that.
Hard hit to the inside wall for Hamlin. A bounce off the outside wall for Logano, and it ends in a shower of sparks.
I am not surprised. I was hoping that wouldn't happen, but I'm not surprised.